Hello, boys and girls. It's Mrs. Janie, and I'm coming from a different location today because I'm sharing my room a little bit. Anyway, while I'm with you today, we're going to be talking about a famous author and illustrator named Eric Carle. So let me share a couple pictures with you that I found online. This is The Very Lonely Firefly, and this is the book I'm going to be sharing with you in class today. It's a really neat book about a firefly who's looking to belong somewhere. And this book is written and illustrated by Eric Carle. Now, you might know some of his other books, like The Hungry Caterpillar, The Grouchy Ladybug, The Busy Spider, Brown Bear, all of these are examples of his work. Here's oops, excuse me, I hit the wrong button. Let's try this one more time. So let me go up here. Here's a photo of Mr. Carle. And do you know what an illustrator is? An illustrator creates the pictures for the books that you read. And he is a very good illustrator. In fact, he takes giant sheets of paper and paints them and lets them dry and then cuts out the shapes and pieces them back together and sort of creates a collage to make the pictures for his books. Do you know what an author is? He's also an author. He writes the stories for his books. So all of these, well, not all of them. This one has a different author, Mr. Bill Martin Jr. But the rest of these are created, they're written by and illustrated by Mr. Eric Carle. So after sharing this story, we're going to create an artwork. So let me show you how this artwork is going to be created. Let me clear my screen. There we go. Now, I've got some things started here, so I'm going to show you some steps. First, you're going to get just a plain sheet of paper, put your name on the back so we don't draw and paint over our names. And I'm going to give you what we call a template. A template is something that you're going to use to trace, to get a shape out of that you need. And we're going to use this story to remind us about fireflies outside. I have caught fireflies in jars since I was a little kid, and my kids love to catch fireflies and other little bugs in jars. And my son likes to catch little toads and put them in jars and buckets and watch them and then set them free again. So I've created templates of these jars. This is out of cardboard. And you're going to place it on your paper any way you like. You can turn it any direction you want to, as long as it fits on there. Take your pencil and trace around the outside edge of your template. Now I'm going to take this back, and you're going to have the shape of the jar on your paper. Now we get to draw the bugs inside, and we're going to add the details. Now our jar is going to need a lid if we're going to keep our bugs inside. So across the top, you want to draw, kind of curve it up a little bit. Follow this line up here to give it a little curve so it looks round like a natural jar. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to draw a firefly. So for the body, we're going to draw a rectangle. Very simple. That's the main part of the body. What shape do you think we're going to use to make the head? Good question. Most of you probably guessed already. We're going to do a circle for the head. Now we need the little light on his tail. So put the letter V at the bottom to make a triangle for his tail. Now we need to add wings. So think of making the letter B. But a big letter B. Nice big wings. And do that on the other side too. Or maybe like a lowercase letter M. Nice and tall and skinny. Okay. And you can give your fireflies antenna. Now you can draw other things in here. And you could draw sticks in your jar. You could draw little flowers. Maybe you picked a cute flower to brighten your fireflies jar there. We're going to add a little accent line here at the bottom. Okay, a little curve at the bottom very lightly with our pencil. Can you see that? And that's going to make the illusion of that clear open area in the back of the jar. You can add caterpillars, ants, grasshoppers, you could make butterflies, whatever you want to add to your jar. What might you catch in your jar with your fireflies? Or you could do just one, you could do several fireflies, big ones and little ones. Okay, but then once you're done with your drawing, you're going to color just the items and the lid of your jar. You're not going to color the background. You're not going to color the space in between these objects because we're going to paint those. So let me show you. Let me give you an idea. I'm going to color my firefly here. And I'm using crayon for a reason, and color it nice and thick. You could also use oil pastel if you have oil pastels, but since we are in the middle of a pandemic here and we're bringing our own supplies, most of you have just crayons in your bag. So we're going to be using these. So color these in nice and dark. Okay. Just the bugs and the flowers and the items there. Then what we're going to do, whoops, dropped my crayon. Okay. After you've colored everything, then we're going to add some paint to this. Let me get my stick in here, and I'll show you how we're going to paint it. I'm doing this quick. I'll show you a nicer version here. You should take your time. Make them look really good. And I need a lid to my jar here. Keep my bugs in so they don't leave. Now, there I've got all of that colored in. It's nice and dark and pretty. Not the best coloring job I've ever done, but if I were going to take my time and make that look a lot nicer later on. But for the video, I just need to show you how this is going to work. The next step after we finish coloring, if we don't get to it one day, the first day we start, then we'll do it the second day you're in art afterwards. We're going to use watercolor to paint the rest of the page, to paint our background area. And the reason we use crayon is because it resists the watercolor. Oil pastel will do the same thing. Crayon has wax in it, and it's going to push away the water. So now you just need, I'm going to give you a paintbrush, and I'll give you a bottle of water. I'm traveling with one today. This is not for drinking. I just put water in this to use to rinse my brush. So, because the paint is dry right now when you get this, because it's been sitting for probably a week or more, I'm going to choose the color I want. I'm going to get my brush wet first. I'm going to pick the color I want. So if I want blue, I'm going to have to put it in and stir it up. Get that paint wet. You might have to add a little more water. Now once you've added water, don't tip that anymore. You'll be dripping paint. Keep it flat on your table. Okay. Now you can paint the background of your picture. So you take the watercolor and you can paint right through, because you would see through your jar. paint all around your bugs. It's almost like magic. It's hard to do this backward here. And you can mix other colors in with your sky color. Maybe it's darker because it's outside. I'm going to rinse my brush, pick a different color, get lots of water in that color so it'll work for us. I'm going to paint right through it. Okay. I can also paint the grass in the area, maybe there's a field behind it where you've been catching these bugs, okay? Paint right through it, right over top of everything. Okay? Inside and outside the jar. Paint the whole page. I'll show you one that's done, okay, or almost done. Let's see here. Okay, so here's one. Now it's not very neat. I would fix that. But you can see, I've got a little bit of the outline of the jar here. Okay, you can still see the bugs. Now, when teachers use the laminating machine and they have all that extra clear plastic that they cut off of their little posters they make, I have them save that plastic. Okay, so I'm going to give you a sheet of this, and I'm going to give you your template back. You're going to trace the template onto this plastic, and you're going to cut it out after the paint's dry, and we're going to glue it over top. This is the finished one of our jar. So we're going to have to let the paint dry. I've got glow-in-the-dark paint. I'm going to put a little spot of glow-in-the-dark paint on every Firefly because I don't have one bottle. So I'll do that part for you after your watercolor dries. And then the next time you come to art, we'll cut out your plastic, glue it on. Now it looks like your bugs are in a jar. Isn't that cute? This project's a lot of fun. My second graders that have done this in the past really, really like this. So happy art making, and I look forward to seeing all of your Fireflies in a jar.